Hey, welcome back, guys, to Is It Wrong with Ray Parra. I have a very, very special guest on tonight. Uh, to me, probably one of the best guitarists. I know you've got all kinds of awards and stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, Rick Renstrom. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, Ray? How's it going?
It's going good, man. Going good. I've been trying to get with you for a while, man. You know what's funny is I got a buddy of mine, Dozer, who saw that we were friends on Facebook, and he hit me up. He's like, "Dude, you're friends with Rick."
That's awesome. Yeah, he hit me up. He messaged me one day. That's cool, man. That's cool.
Yeah. Did he send you a friend request?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Good. Dude, I met him through Facebook. He's a big truck driver, and we just become really, really good friends, man. You know.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So Rick, man, so excited to have you on the show, man. And what my show is all about is It Wrong? The title. And in this case, is it wrong for someone who's living with disabilities to be such a great guitar player? You know what I'm saying? I mean, dude, you blow so many people away that have everything. And that's why I wanted to get you on here. I want to hear your story, man. You know, if you want to just share with everybody, share your story.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, I mean, it's been a long journey to this point, you know. And I mean, I'm getting old. I'm older. I forgot to put on the Just for Men, so the beard's looking a little gray today.
How old are you?
I'm 52.
You're a baby, bro.
I know.
I'm 61. I got you.
Okay, yeah, a little bit. But next week I'll be back to normal. No grays next week. So.
There you go. Does that stuff work really good? Does it get on your skin and stuff, or?
It works pretty good. Yeah, it lasts for maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks at the most. Then you gotta do it again, man. It's like, I was gonna do a video one time and just make it funny, like just for old guitar players, you know, instead of just for men, it's just for old guitar players, you know. So,
dude, that's great. You should do that.
I was thinking about it. I got a lot of video ideas. So sadly, I don't have a lot of time to put all of them out there. But you know, one day, you know.
Yeah. Hey, when we were talking the other day, you said that your time that, you know, when I was trying to get you on here, you're like, man, I'm so booked with work. And what do you do for work?
I'm a network engineer, so I do a lot of stuff with data and voice, and so usually 1 week out of about 8 weeks, I go on call, is what you call it. You know, basically 24/7 availability. So
wow,
usually it's not that busy, you know, anything weird happens, but you know, it's usually the one time that I do something, then I get a call, you know, and I have to stop the world for it, and that's it. So it's really the 1 week out of that time, but from here on out, I'm free as a bird, you know. So
that's great, man. That's great. So anyways, let's get back to your story, bro.
Yeah. So you know, well, you know, I'm 52, so that means I was born in 1971, which is a pretty good year. Jesus Christ Superstar came out that year with Ian Gillan singing it, which is, you know, amazing. I love Ian Gillan. But so pretty wild year. And then I was born with what's called a congenital birth defect. I guess you want to say that.
Yeah.
And, you know, so he said that was it, you know, that it just came right from there. This is what God gave me, you know.
Right.
So I had to, you know, and obviously I'm a young kid. I don't know anything. But,
you
know, my
like
family.
15 or something, right?
Yeah. So when I was 15, this is when, you know, I grew up, you know, and all my life, my family was very helpful to me as far as, you know, they never. You know, it was never like, you know, he's different or anything like that. He was just treated the same. And, you know, and I was kind of taught to do a lot of things myself, figure it out for myself. And if I needed help, someone would help me. But, you know, most of the time I figured it out. And, you know, as I grew, got through school and stuff like that. And then I started getting into music. My family is very musical.
Nice.
You know, so my dad played piano, my mom played like acoustic folk guitar, stuff like that. And got a lot of family members. My uncles both play guitar. So a lot of musicians in the family, and a lot of music through the family. So yeah, I started getting into music, you know, a really young age, you know, obviously, and I could sing. I could sing very well.
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, as a young kid, I could sing amazingly, and I won awards for singing. You know, when I was like in my young years, up to about age 13 or 14 is when, you know, I started becoming a man. You know, and the voice changed.
It changed into a man's voice.
It changed, yeah. So I mean, there was a point I could sing like, you know, soprano, alto. I could sing all the parts, you know, to any song, and and it was pitch perfect, but then yeah, I had that voice change, and I couldn't hit the high notes anymore, so it was more of a alto bass going
Oh,
on. And then I think I was like, I didn't want to be a guitar player or a singer anymore, and I wanted to do something different.
mhm.
And my uncles played guitar, so I was like, maybe I could try guitar, And then they got me a guitar. It was my grandmother's old 1957 Gibson. It was like an acoustic electric.
Oh
It was
yeah.
terrible to play. I'm surprised I
The
pushed
strings
through
were
with
really
it.
high off the bridge, right?
Oh man, dude, insane. So yeah, so they gave me that, and it was kind of a deal. I had to kind of if I practiced on it and got good, I could go take lessons.
Mm.
And so I figured out how to do some stuff. I can figure out how to hold a guitar, figure out how to hold the pick, figure out how to play some songs. Like my uncle showed me how to do "Smoke on the Water," the wrong way, of course.
Right.
But I learned how to play that, and then like Layla was another one, and Breaking the Law.
Oh
So
my
I
gosh.
knew these 3 songs, and they were all the single string. It wasn't chords or anything, just single picked strings.
I have to tell you a
And,
really quick story about breaking the law. So, I'm with Warrior, right?
right.
When we were first starting out, before we got saved, before we became Sacred Warrior, me, Tony, Bruce, Nick, we had a band we were called Nomad. And we would practice in Tony's basement, right? And his dad would come down there, slice cheese and give us beers and give us cheese. And he would always come up to me and say, "Hey, Don Parritas." That's what he called me, Don Parritas, right? He goes, "Play that song for me, will you?" I said, "Which one?" And he would say, "Breaking My Law, Breaking My Law."
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, man, it's
It's
great.
classic. It was one of my favorite songs. In that back in the day, and it was so easy to learn. It was just
Yeah.
how to play it. But and then I got that good enough, and I asked my mom, I'm ready for lessons. I'm ready for lessons, Mom. And she's okay. So we found a guitar teacher at the local music store in Akron, Ohio, and he wasn't apprehensive at all. He's like, "Yeah, sure, I'll show you what I can show you. It's up to you to figure it all out." I was like, "Yeah, no problem. I'll do
Yeah.
it." And he was just a theory teacher mostly.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So I could learn chords,
Oh,
and
yeah.
scales, and intervals, and things like that. And sometimes he'd show me a song if I asked him, like, "Could you show me how to play this song?" He'd figure it out for me. But he was a real Rush fanatic. He loved Alex Lifeson and Rush, and
Oh, sure.
that was his thing. I was into Ingve. I wanted to be Ingve, and he didn't think I was going to play like Ingve. And I was like, "That's fine.
Yeah.
If I want it, I'll do it."
Yeah, man.
And I never really wanted to play like Ingve. I just wanted to sound like Ingve and have that vibe. But for sure,
Mhm.
I was a kid. I wanted to be Ingve. I wanted his life. As a kid. But but
Oh,
anyway, I took
man.
a year of those. Took a year of those lessons, and I practiced every day. A couple hours here, more to up to 6 to 8 hours of
Mhm.
just trying, constantly, come home from school and practice my guitar, and then have another lesson, practice all that stuff over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And then after a year, I kind of just I ran out of stuff for me to learn from the guy.
Oh,
And
wow.
lucky for me, I was looking through the newspaper, which, back in the day, there was people could put ads in a newspaper.
Wait, what's a newspaper?
Huh?
Yeah, I know, right? What is the newspaper? And so I'm looking through the newspaper classified ads one day, and there's an ad that says, a guitar teacher just new in town from GIT, teaching in the styles of Malmsteen, Uli Roth, Richie Blackmore, Vinnie Moore, all these guys. And I'm like, this is the guy. And he's
Yeah.
starting to teach at the same music store that I always go to. So I called him up and said, "Hey, I've been taking a year for this other guy, but I want to learn how to, do neoclassical. I want to be Ingve and all this stuff." And he's like, "Yeah, come on down, man. I'll give you a lesson this day." And sure enough, and he's a great guy. He had no reservations, and he was just like, "Let's get you doing what you want to do, man." And he
Yeah,
showed me
yeah.
everything I needed to know about.
Let me cut you off for a second there. I think it's so awesome that your mom said to you, "Here you go. You want to do it? Do it. When you're ready, you tell me." So
Mhm.
she equipped you for success, because she could have said, "Dude, there's no way you can do this.
Oh
Just
yeah,
why don't you just sing?" But
I know,
no,
right?
man. She she said, "All right, you want it. Show me how badly you want it." And apparently, you wanted it bad enough. Look at you
Oh yeah,
now. Look what God has done with you now. You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
I think that's incredible, man. That is incredible, bro.
Absolutely, yeah. And I can't thank her enough. I'm going to buy her a house in Malibu one day, hopefully. But
That's right.
we'll see. But
Hey,
it's great. And even on top of that, after a year of playing for the first guy, I was like, I can't play this guitar anymore. This old Gibson, it's just not. I need something good. Better.
mhm.
And of course, I'd get the Charvel and Jackson catalog sent to me in the mail all the time, and I looked to it. And I want this guitar. It's a Charvel Model 4. And she's like, "Well, all right, well, we can go to the music store and look." And of course, we went there, and I found a red Charvel Model 4, brand new
Ooh,
from 1986, I think it was.
nice.
And I know it was like maybe $625 or something like that. And somehow she found the way to buy it, and that was it, man. Once I got that guitar, that's when I went crazy.
Wow.
I went nuts. It was constant. I'm practicing because the action was super low, had a tremolo bar, all that kind of
Nice.
stuff. So I'm just like
You're in heaven.
everything, and I've been playing on this old Gibson with the strings, 10 feet off the fretboard, and now I got something that's like right on the fretboard, and it just
Ooh.
skyrocketed me to become that much better and faster, because I had,
Mhm.
a better guitar finally.
Yeah,
And that's
man.
when I started playing, I'd wake up and play guitar. I'd come home from lunch
Sure.
from school. I only lived, maybe 5-10 minute walk from school. So I'd run home, play
Oh
guitar for
man.
the lunch break, run back, come home, start playing, do my homework, start and play for the rest of the night.
Wow.
Oh, day and night, day and night, day and night, day and night, just scales and modes and every technique I could think of with a metronome, and that was it. I didn't have a drum machine or anything like that. It was just a metronome. And
Oh
day
wow.
in, day out, day in, day out of this practicing,
Hmm.
and that's what it takes. Honestly, to
Absolutely.
get up in that range. And then I think I was 16, and I back to the newspaper. I was like, well, I could join a band. Let me join a
Yeah.
band. So I started looking, and I found some old guys. They were like double my age, and we're playing Doc and stuff. And I could, I loved George Lynch back in the day, and I learned
Oh
that's a
yeah.
lot of stuff I learned. It was easy for me to learn. So I
Yeah.
was playing Doc and stuff with these guys, these old dudes, but I was like, I don't know, these guys are a little too old for me, And I found some other guys, and they were more, maybe a couple years older than me, 18, 19, 20. And they're like, dude, let's do this band. And we started a band, had the whole band together, and started playing out. And soon enough, I'm playing like 2 or 3 times a week while I'm in school. So I'd
It's
go out and play
crazy.
at night, wake up like bleary eyed. My mom would be bashing me over the head, wake up, go to school. I'm like,
You're not missing school. Yeah.
exactly. Oh yeah, yeah. She's very adamant about that.
Oh yeah.
So that I had to graduate. And I'm glad I did. Of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it was wild. So, and it just got better and better. I started becoming better and finding better musicians to work with, and
Hmm.
better singers, better drummers. The whole 9 yards.
Oh
So,
yeah, man.
just becoming the wannabe rock star, the local rock star, trying to become something. So it's pretty
Yeah.
wild.
And I read somewhere that you went to a music school as well, right?
I went to Akron University, yeah, which
Okay.
is basically the big college in Akron, Ohio. And a lot of people have gone through there, but one notable name you might know is Neil Zaza. Have you ever heard of him?
I have not.
He was okay. He was like one of the big, probably the guy to watch. But if you ever look up Neil Zaza, Zaza on
Hmm.
YouTube, he's one of
Okay.
the best guitar players in the world, man. It's insane.
Wow.
But he
Wow.
went to that college, and I got to meet him and start hanging out with him for a while, which was pretty cool. But yeah, I just started studying like initially classical guitar.
Right. Right.
Was my thing, but I was taking like theory classes and fretboard harmony classes,
Hmm.
notation, a lot of just a ton of stuff, with that.
Yeah.
And after a year of doing that, I learned that classical music, which I love, was very strict. It
Oh
was
yeah.
extremely strict, and it got to the point where I was just like, I don't know. It was just it was becoming harder and harder every
Mm.
time. Every song was getting harder. Every note had to be pitch perfect, and
Right.
teachers just like, do it again, do it again, do it again. You're just like, oh my god, I couldn't get into it anymore.
Yeah.
But I got enough influence of it that I was happy for that, and then I
Yeah.
just switched gears and went to jazz. I had a friend
Yeah.
that started taking jazz, and the teacher there was unbelievable. And I started taking the classes with him, and it was so much. So I felt so much more free, that
Mhm.
it was just like, yeah, just do whatever you want, let it out. You
Yeah,
don't have
yeah,
to. You're classical music. You're confined to
yeah.
the notes on the page.
Yeah, I saw that you're an Al Di Meola fan too. I'm a huge Al Di Meola fan, bro.
Oh man,
When I was a
I
kid,
love
man,
Al.
my goodness, yeah,
Oh
yeah, I
yeah,
got,
yeah. Al
yeah.
is unreal, and yeah, that's. I knew of Al long before long before I even played guitar. I
Oh,
knew of Al
really?
Di Meola.
Oh, wow.
I think it was Electric Rendezvous. There's a record store down the street from where I lived,
Yeah.
and that's where we go get our records and stuff. And they had like a huge display for Electric Rendezvous. I remember there, and I was like, "Wow, what is that? That's so cool looking, whatever." And I knew about it. And then my uncle had some Al Di Meola tapes, and I
Hmm.
listened to those as well. And I was like, "Oh, this is so cool," because it was like heavy progressive jazz. So I didn't really
Yeah.
know what it was when I was a kid. But
Right.
then, once I started taking jazz, and it's all started to fall into place, like, oh well, this is what he was doing.
Hmm.
So
But you knew that you
yeah.
loved it, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
And I love it to this. I saw Al a couple years ago up in Clearwater, Florida, and I got to meet him too, which was a dream of mine, because
Yeah.
I've studied his stuff so much. And
So he's still
yeah,
playing right now.
yeah.
Wow.
He had a heart attack about
Mhm.
3 or 4 months ago, and
Wow.
he had to cancel his tour, and then he recovered like perfectly, like insane. And
Wow.
he's back on tour right now. I didn't get to see him, but he did play down here like a couple weeks ago. So yeah, he's back in
Wow.
action and just
Now,
shredding, man.
you live in Florida?
Yeah,
What part? Clearwater,
I'm over the
Orlando?
St. Pete, Tampa side. Yeah, I'm on the
Oh, okay.
west side.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
and I'm
like
in the
Rob.
Daytona side.
Okay, I was gonna say you and Rob are on the east side,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I used to live in Central Florida
Oh,
in
yeah.
Altamont Springs and Longwood for a little while. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Speaking of Rob, him and I were talking the other day, and I asked him about you. I said, "So how did this whole thing come about?" And I guess you reached out to him. I don't know if he put an ad or what happened. He goes, but he said, Ray, my manager, I presented Rick to my manager, and my manager looked at me and he said, you want to take a chance on this guy?" And Rob's like, "Yeah, I wouldn't be bringing it to the table if I didn't, you
Wow.
know." And he said that was a great experience for him playing with you. He said he really, really enjoyed you, and he told me that you're a great guy. He said you're a great guitar player, and in turn, Rob is an excellent guy as well. He's
Oh,
just down to earth, cool guy. I just released a podcast with him the other day. He is, Rob is one of those kind of guys. He's played with the biggest of the biggest, and yet he's one of the most humblest dudes you ever met.
oh yeah.
You
Oh man,
know,
yeah. The story is something. I can give you some detail for sure on that story. But of course, when I was a young kid, getting into metal and stuff, I loved the Shrapnel records and stuff like that,
hmm.
and like Tony McAlpine and
Oh yeah,
Yngwie and Vinnie Moore, stuff like that. And then you see this Mars Project Driver was one of the releases because I bought everything. If
oh
it was
yeah,
on Shrapnel, I was buying it. And
nice.
so Mars Project Driver come out, and I'm like, okay, what's this? And I heard it, and I was like, oh my god, this. And then of course I hear Rob, and I'm like,
Oh
who is
yeah,
this?
man.
Who is this guy? This is amazing. This is
He's
the
the voice
greatest
of
thing.
melodic metal.
Yeah, it was like this. I was like, why is not Mike Varney using this guy for like everything? This is like
Yeah, man.
awesome. And and then of course then I was I discovered in Pelletieri, and there's like a
Mhm.
the magazine I had, and had a little quarter page ad in the corner of Pelletieri, and it's a featuring Rob Rock. I'm like, well, there's that guy. So I ordered that tape, and then I'm like,
Yeah.
and then I'm into Impellitteri because Chris Impellitteri is one of the greatest shredders of all time.
Oh yeah.
And then you got Rob Rock on top of that. I'm like, this 4-song EP is one of the best things I've ever heard. And I played it over and over and over and over. So yeah, both of those things. So I've known of Rob since
Hmm.
he existed in the industry, as far as that goes, when he, as the name came out in the world. And then, yeah, and then just years went by, whatever. And then in 1999, I
Hmm.
left the band that I was in. I was looking ready for a change.
Right.
And, but actually just before 1999, I believe it was 97 or 98, don't know if do you remember Jam magazine? Did that come
Yeah,
out to you guys?
of course. Oh
Okay.
yeah. Oh yeah.
So I'm looking through the Jam magazine. I live right down the street from the offices, so I always pick up an issue of it. And I'm
Nice.
like flipping through the pages, and there was a place called Fairbanks Jam, which is a place that my band played all the time.
Nice.
And there's a little ad that said some band, I can't remember the name of it, but it said featuring Rob Rock. And I'm like, what? Rob Rock coming to Florida? I
Yeah.
don't know. And unfortunately, back in those days, I was a little more of a wild side.
We all were, bro.
Yeah, so I was probably I didn't remember. I forgot that the show was even happening, and I missed it.
Mm-hmm. Oh man.
I was super bummed. I was like, man, I would have loved to see Rob Rock.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, oh, whatever. It's fine. And then, so 99 comes, and I'm trying to write a solo album, basically what turned into my solo album. I'm writing all these songs, and I'm like, man, I need a singer. I need to find a singer. I didn't really know any other singers in town. And I just started, luckily I had the internet, and I'm like, Rob Rock. Remember that guy? He was amazing. I'd love to have him sing for me, Rob.
Yeah.
And look him up, and I find, he's got a website. Okay, robrock.com. Cool. And looking, and there's a contact page, and it says Oviedo, Florida, which was probably 15 to 20 minutes away from Altamont. I'm like, wow, Rob lives in Oviedo?
He's
like,
my neighbor.
So I literally sent him an email. I was like, hey, Rob, I see you're here in Florida, man. You're one of the greatest singers. I've loved hearing your voice for years and years and years. I'm working on a solo album. I don't know how this even works, but I'd love for you to maybe sing a track or something on it. And he emailed back. Like, I was like, oh my God, he emailed back. And it was more like, he's like, man, that sounds really cool. And I'd love to hear what you have. But, right now I have my own solo album I'm working on, which Rage of Creation.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I'm actually looking for, a touring band to do this. And I was like, he's like, would you have any interest in doing that? I was like, yeah, absolutely. Send me whatever you got, and I'll learn it, and I'll play it for you, like an audition or whatever. He's like, sure, no problem. And so he sends me basically the rough demo of Rage of Creation on a CD. I get it instantly. I put it in, and I'm learning every song from start to finish.
How long did it take you?
But not too long, maybe a day and a half.
Oh,
so I was super excited. I was like,
that's great.
Like this was the biggest thing, So I learned the whole album front to back, every chord, every solo, every change, everything. And I emailed back, say, hey Rob, I learned your whole CD, man. I'm ready when you are. And he's like, okay, that's awesome. Well, let's meet up. And he come over, and I just played him. I didn't even turn the CD on. I just played every song, start to finish, with nothing, just me playing it. And he's like,
yeah, he was blown away, right?
He's like, okay.
Yeah.
He's like, well, man, he's like, dude, that's amazing. Let me think about it or whatever. I can't remember how things worked out thereafter, but he's pretty much, I'll get back to you. And I was like, yeah, that's cool, man. And then he's like, dude, you got the gig. And I'm like, okay.
How long did it take him to get back to you?
I don't remember. It was maybe a couple of days or so. I was just like, I was just in awe, And then he's like, well, I need the rest of the band. I'm like, okay, I know some dudes, man. So, I called.
Well, so you put the whole band together then?
Not entirely. No, it's like I found Steve Elder, the bass player, was the first guy on board, and then what was it? Tracy Shell, the drummer. Rob found him, and then kind of a mutual. Angelo Giannotti was the first guitar player that we got in to do that. And it was kind of a mutual friendship. I knew Angelo, and Rob knew Angelo, and we kind of hit him at the same time, and he joined up, and that was it. And that was the band to start with, and then we started practicing, and then boom, there you go. We're in Germany in December of '99.
Jeez,
it was like mind-boggling, dude. Man. That's the first time I ever went to Europe. So it was amazing. And then Rob, as far as it goes, just an unreal dude, man. He's like so cool, so humble, so chill, and he's grounded, you know that is. Because it was love of the Lord, and it's
man.
He is so just right there, and it's awesome.
Yeah,
and I would do anything for the guy,
Yeah. Do you know what he does for a living other than music? I can tell you.
I mean, you used to just do like landscaping, or it was like
That's what he does, man. He does landscaping.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
Yep.
he'd have like mowers and all kinds. I was like, wow,
Yeah,
dude,
man. Yep.
people need their lawn mowed.
Bro, you know
If
what's funny is even like with me, I'm a construction manager for a company, right? And I meet so many people, and then all of a sudden someone will say, "Aren't you in Sacred Warrior?" And I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Oh man, dude, what are you doing here?" You know, it's like music is, you know, unless you're like a major act, you're not, you know. But
yeah,
they're like, "Dude, you're just like such a normal person," you know, and that's Rob. I think
yeah,
guys that are rooted in themselves, their head's not too big. I know guys that aren't as big as Rock, but their head is bigger than all of us. You know what I mean?
oh yeah,
You can't let that get to you, man. I mean, I look at a guy like you, just cutting through all this adversity and stuff, and you seem like such a humble dude, such a real person. You know, when you're
yeah,
talking with people on your YouTube channel, the way you talk to them, and I heard you saying, I don't know, it was a few weeks ago. I was listening, and you were talking with somebody. You're like, "Yeah, I used to practice 5 hours a day, and then I got kind of lazy, and then I went down to 4 hours, and then three, and I was 1 hour. Then all of a sudden, I'm like, no, I need to get back out of that and get into all the rehearsing. You know, just living real life situations. You know, and not
yeah.
afraid to talk about it. You know,
No, yeah, I mean, it's you when you nowadays you put yourself out there to the world. You know,
absolutely,
we have the technology to do it. You know, back, you know, it's a lot of times I was in the right place but the wrong time. You know, for my career. You know, I think when I met Rob, everything was just turning to gold in a lot of ways for me. And I was like, everything I did was just working out amazingly. You know, and then, but unfortunately, you know, there's some points that when you get to a certain point at the top, you know, there's only one way down, and it's,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and some, you know, sadly, things that were out of control, out of our
yeah,
control, caused kind of a bad time for us, you know, and
yeah,
it
yeah,
sucked.
yeah.
But it
Hey,
happens, you
so
know.
yeah, so before we continue, would you want to play a little bit for us?
Yeah, sure, man. Let me. You're gonna edit this all, aren't you?
I sure am. Don't worry about it, bro. I got
Making
you,
sure because
man.
we're at the setup. I had to
I
make sure you
got
can
you.
hear. I need to share my stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You know, StreamYard, you can do whatever you want with this.
Yeah, you just download. You just downloading this, aren't you? Later.
Exactly.
That's cool, man. I might have to adjust the camera a little bit. Let me
No
see. I'm
problem, bro.
trying to think.
Do whatever you got to do. Perfect.
Let's hear what the song sounds like on top of it.
Hey, let's go, man.
That one's called "That's Pages Left Unturned." What you liked? Okay.
All right.
Let me know how this sounds.
It's a little loud, the whole mix, but just a little bit. It's starting borderline wanting to distort a little bit.
Okay, we'll turn it down to notch there.
What do you play through, by the way?
This I'm using Studio One.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And then I have. So what I do is I'll export. I use Pro Tools as well. I do a
Right,
lot of stuff
right.
in Pro Tools. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll export a wave file out, and I'll import it here.
Right.
And then so I have, like I said, about 50 songs here, ready
Nice.
ready to go at any moment. So
Nice.
and then it's basically it. And then as far as the guitars, it's like Amplitude 5, the plugin for guitars.
Sure.
And that's really about it, man. It's
Awesome,
pretty
man.
basic. You know, I like
Yeah.
to keep it simple.
Yeah, sure.
People like, I got 15 pedals and I got all these plugins. I'm like, dude, I don't need all that.
Nah, you don't. You really don't. Especially with all the inserts available now, you know?
Oh, yeah. So let's see if this is. I turned this down about. Give it a shot.
Yes, bro. That was incredible, man.
Thanks, man.
Ali, man.
Appreciate that. Let me put this down.
That was incredible, bro.
That's awesome, dude. Glad you like that. Yeah, it's like one of my favorites, man. There's so many stories to tell about a
Oh
lot of the
yeah,
songs, and that was
yeah,
that's probably I wrote that, man, a long time ago, honestly. Probably like 2000, around the time I was with Rob, so maybe 2003 or four. Let's write a lot of stuff, you know.
yeah. You know what I was going to
Honestly,
ask you? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, yeah, I was just blabbing.
Yeah. Now I was going to say, do you ever like? You ever had any big fears going on stage and performing for people, or you just go up there, you're like, here I am, like it or not? I mean, even like me, sometimes I don't fear going on stage. Somebody asked me recently, we just played with Queensryche. Aren't you scared to play with Queensryche? I'm like, no, I'm not afraid to play with them. We're not competing,
Right.
but I'm a big guy. So I kind of question myself sometimes as far as like my look, you know what I'm saying? So I have my own in my own kind of way, but that's always in the back of my head. But I go out there and I do my thing, So do you ever have any kind of like reservations or fears or anything like that?
No, never. I mean, there was one time, the very first time I ever played when I was 16. It was at just a crummy dive bar, and a bunch of bands were playing, and we were there. We're sitting in the bar waiting for it to go on, and I was nervous. I was super nervous. Like, oh my god, this is gonna be crazy. But then I started seeing the bands that were playing before us. They were playing, and I'm like, well. And then I didn't mean to be conceited or anything like that. I was just a kid. But I was like, well, I'm better than that guy. I could play better than him. So that's no biggie. And my drummer's better than that drummer, So, it's kind of like
man.
that. And then the next band came. I was like, well, these guys aren't that good either,
I walk this empty street on the boulevard of broken dreams. When the city's deep and I'm the only one, I walk alone.
We're a better band, Like, so by the time I go up there, I'm hyped up, It's like
Sure,
super
man.
hype.
Yeah,
because I'm like, well, we're gonna blow everyone away or whatever,
Yeah,
I don't like to use that term stuff like that anymore. I don't care, competition wise or whatever. But back then I was a kid,
Yeah,
that's how I thought. But and I got on stage and I had nothing. The nervousness that I had maybe an hour or two before was gone, and that was it. And it doesn't matter how many people are in the crowd.
Yeah,
I'm ready to go, for sure.
Yeah,
as soon
man.
as,
Yeah,
as soon as we hit the stage, I'm ready to go.
yeah. At what point did you say, I'm where I wanted to be musically that I dreamed up when I was a kid, when I was watching Malmsteen and all these guys? At one point in your life, did you say, man, I'm there now? Did it take you a long time, or did you get there pretty quick? Because it seems like you're a quick learner,
Yeah. I mean, in all reality, it was with Rob, when we played probably the Bang Your Head Festival in 2003.
Wow.
I mean, you walk off stage and there's like maybe 7,000 people, and then we play in a couple songs, and here comes another 7,000 people. It's like, there's so many people.
Yeah.
And you finish that first song, and the roar of the crowd.
Oh yeah.
It's, I don't do drugs, but it's like a drug,
Yeah.
that you're like, I guess, the adrenaline is like that. It's like that drug. And you hear that and you see how happy these people are that you just played this song or whatever. And it just pumps me up even more, and I get really into it. And I've played shows where there's like 17 people there and I'm just not into it. It's like, I'll play and I'll do my best. I just can't get into the show because there's just no one there, But,
you're not feeling the vibe from everybody,
right? And I'm happy to play. It doesn't matter. You have to do my YouTube streams that I maybe have 20, 30 people show up, and I don't care. It's just good people hanging out and chatting. It's fine. I'm not playing in front of. I don't have faces in front of me.
Right. How many followers do you have on YouTube?
I have a lot everywhere, but YouTube's interestingly the lowest. I have 79, about 70. Actually, I think I had 7,900 on YouTube,
Hmm.
I have 19,000 on TikTok and 15 and a half on Instagram.
Wow. That's
So really,
incredible.
yeah, it's probably over 40,000 altogether, which
Yeah.
is
And that,
amazing. Like, I mean, I started in March, right? I had
right.
nothing, zero. I had a couple hundred subscribers on YouTube from just me putting out videos a long time ago.
Sure. Yeah.
Just guitar videos, me, whatever, and they're horrible quality and whatever. So I had no TikTok, I had no Instagram, I had nothing,
Right.
not a follower anywhere. And then here I'm now with over 40,000. But it's
Yeah.
a lot of hard work. I had to
Sure.
dedicate the time and
Yeah.
all the effort, and I put a lot of time into live streaming and pushing
Hmm.
my stuff out there. So, but it's
Yeah.
wild, and I'm super grateful and about it
Sure.
and happy.
Yeah.
So
And people see you and they see the passion you have for it, and it's contagious. You know what I mean? In a good kind of way.
yeah,
People see that drive. They're like, oh yeah, man. It's weird. I've done some little things just to kind of figure out what kind of things people like. Right? You post something that's really silly on YouTube or Instagram, so you're gonna get a lot of views. You post something serious, it's only to a select group, but then you hit that one thing that could be anything really, but that affects one person in one way, and then all of a sudden everybody's like, "Oh yeah, I get that, I get that, I get that," and it
hmm
just blows up. You just never know. You don't know where people's minds are. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
you just do it. You do your thing, like me with my podcast. I haven't been doing it that long, and I'm starting to get some followers. And you can look the analytics. You get followers. You get people that view a lot, then a little, and so on. But I'm
hmm
not going to quit. I'm like you, man. I do what I do with music,
yeah,
and it's going very well. We're doing it again. We're touring again.
nice,
Yeah, man. Yeah, we basically started a couple years ago, actually, touring again with Sacred Warrior. And dude, I'm telling you what, man, it's incredible how people tell us now that they think we're the best Sacred Warrior ever. Now, as grown
yeah.
men, you
That's
know.
that's amazing because I mean I feel the same, because this is probably the best I've ever played, but
Yeah,
I just came back with a different mindset, and
yeah,
I
man.
think the thing, and I hope I'm probably the same for you, is I'm just having fun. That's it.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
I have no pressure, no stress. There's no record label breathing down my neck. No producer telling me what to do. There's no other bandmates to tell me what to do or
right,
whatever,
right. Yeah,
and I'm just like, well, I'm going to do what I want and I'm going to have fun doing it.
yeah,
And
yeah,
if someone wants to watch it, great. I'm here.
yeah,
I'm doing it. If
yeah,
you don't want to
yeah,
watch it, you don't care. It's fine,
yeah, yeah.
but enough people
Any,
have gotten interested to just
yeah,
check it
man.
out. So it's cool.
Yeah, yeah. Any regrets of any kind for anything as far as,
Maybe I don't. It's a tough
yeah,
one, man. You when you get to this point in your life, you go, man. If I only knew what I know then,
right.
where would I be now?
Yeah,
And and again, like I said before, a lot of times in my life, I was at the right place, but the wrong time. And that means certain things like I missed the '80s, the big '80s thing, the hair metal and all that stuff. I wasn't ready for that, as far as like
sure.
to become a rock star. I wasn't ready for that. My
Yeah,
my playing and my writing, and it just wasn't there. But by the time I was there, well, here comes grunge to totally wipe metal off the earth for a while.
oh
And
yeah.
I was like,
I
oh,
had a hard time with grunge. I ain't gonna lie.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
just,
yeah.
yeah,
And I was just like, and then I'm just like struggling along, with bands. We're still playing metal, but not everyone's getting into it. But some
yeah,
people are. There's still a small pocket of people out there that are into it. So we just kept
yeah,
trudging along, trudging along, trudging along. And then when I met Rob and got going there, it was like it was for once the right place at the right time
right, right.
because he already had a fan base in Europe, he had a fan base in Asia and South America and all these places. So
Hmm.
by the time he was ready, we could go places and do things,
Yeah.
and there were crowds. They were ready, and they had their Mars Project Driver records ready to go,
Oh
and their
yeah.
Joshua records, and their Angelica. They had them all ready to go to get signed and stuff like that. And we're just like,
Yeah, that's the whole Rob Rock history right there,
yeah,
man.
pretty much,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was wild, you know. And then on, you know, we tour with, you know, Axel Rudy Pell. You know, one of the first tours we did was with Axel, and it was just amazing, you know. And it was just like it kept going and going. And then I got my solo album, you know, and that was from a lot of hard work when we were on tour. You know, I was taking tapes with me, you know, demo tapes, and I hand them out to everybody that would take it. And
was that on Mascot Records?
Yeah, that was the red label that we put it out on. And there was other labels that wanted to put it out.
Right.
But Mascot had the best deal, and I needed the most money, you know, at the time to unfortunately to record it. You know, recording wasn't cheap back then, and there wasn't any home studios.
Who would have thought, right?
I know, you know, and
who would have thought you go from that to you know. John, with my Deny the Fallen record, he records all the music in Mexico.
Oh,
he comes here in my studio, and we track all the vocals here. It's mind-blowing. And the quality you get now, because you have the control you have, things are sounding so much better now on a computer than they did on the Atari machines, you know, and the big reel-to-reels. And, you know, and it's mind-blowing. You know, it's the difference between analog and digital. You know, you have a lot more control over digital, but who would have thought that all these years later you can track everything on a computer, man? COVID. What did COVID do? It brought out all the musicians. You record in your house. You record in your house. We're going to put everything together, and it's all going to sound the same. Incredible, man. Yeah,
I mean, during COVID, I wasn't doing any of that, you know, because I wasn't even playing guitar, you know. Like I think in 2018, I kind of was like, I ran out of steam on just music and bands, and we had tried real hard again. I started playing again. I mean, a quick synopsis, a quick timeline for you.
Yeah, man.
So at the end of 2004, like I said, there was an event that with Rob's band and everything that it had nothing to do with anybody. It wasn't bad, nothing. Everyone was still friends and nothing like that. It wasn't anything like that, but it was something out of our control.
Right.
There was a tour, and just to give you a context, there was a tour, a big tour, a really big tour, like the biggest tour ever for us.
Oh wow!
And it was set. It was all set. It was supposed to start, and it was going to be 48 cities, if I remember correctly, worldwide tour with a very, very, very big European band.
Yeah.
And then maybe about 30 days before the tour was about to start, we all get calls. The tour's been canceled.
Because
no, this is back in 2004. This is a long time ago.
Prior. Yeah.
This is eons ago.
Okay,
and so tours canceled. Like, oh no, and the band basically got an offer to go tour with a bigger band than them, and they wanted to go take that tour.
I know the story. I know the story, Rob. Yeah.
And then for sure, what happens? That tour got canceled too.
Yeah,
and everyone lost. And unfortunately, at that point, it just started taking a downward spiral from there. You know, touring and doing stuff with Rob was making me money to live. And that was going to, and that tour right there was going to basically, I believe was going to push me through that glass ceiling.
Oh, wow.
You know, to just to be a breakthrough artist. You know, people know who I am because my solo album just came out. I had a band with Wade Black called Leash Law that just came out. I mean, things were just blowing up, and that was going to take it to the next level. That tour, I think, you know.
Yeah.
And I blame nobody. It's nobody's fault. It's just the way of life. But it was a hard lesson to learn. Yeah. But at the end of 2004, it was just so bad. I had literally no money left, and I had to I had to do something. I had to get it. So I got a job.
McDonald's, man. Go work at McDonald's, bro.
Yeah, no, I couldn't do that. No. So, but I had a lot of customer service type skills.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine, and I was going to church at the time, and there was a lady at the church that said, "Well, I work at this phone company." And I was like, "Oh yeah, what's that all about?" And she's like, "Well, you did customer service before. You're just going to be helping customers out with their phones and stuff like that." I was like, "Okay, nice. How do I apply?" And I applied, and she got me the job. And thank God I got the job because it was the start of my kind of IT networking career. Was starting there at the bottom of this company, and I worked my way up there.
Yeah.
Surely. Look, you want the job or not?
Yeah.
Great.
Hell,
People hooked up to machines like slaves. And the smell? It's pure underarm.
Okay, so what do we do here?
So yeah, but I stopped playing guitar. I didn't have time to play guitar. I was working for this job, and it was like, I'd come home and I'd be tired. I was like,
is that why you stopped playing? Because you were tired, or you just didn't have the time? Or
I think it was just more or less I gave up on music. I was like, I think it's just because that whole event that happened, everything just kind of fell apart. And I got dropped by my record label. Mascot dropped me. I didn't sell enough records for them, and I couldn't get another one. The Leash Law album that we did with Wade Black and Richard Christie on drums, it didn't go anywhere. We didn't sell enough records, and all to find out that, unfortunately, and this is also about the time of the rise of MP3. And, and
when everybody's stealing music, so to speak.
Yeah, so the record labels, I have intel from both record labels that there was tens of thousands of downloads of my record, the Leash Law record. So we only sold, we didn't even sell enough to pay back the the record deal,
studio time,
all that stuff. So it was just
man,
it barely covered anything. So that was painful, and then I was getting checks from BMI that were really good, for a while, because my music was being played all over the world. And then one day I went and got it came to my PO box. I went to my PO box. I got one of the check one day, and it was for 8 cents.
Oh man! Oh,
and we're talking previous checks before were thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And I get this, and I get 8 cents. I'm like, I'm screwed right now. So I was like, I'm done.
Art, right? Yeah. Man.
Yeah. I was like, you know what? I'm done. Whatever. I did all this, and I reached this level that I don't think not many people in the world are going to reach.
Right.
It's. I was like, all right, I have my dreams fulfilled. Now I go live a normal life, and then I go and got married and all that kind of stuff. And
I was going to ask you that.
But I still did music though, because I was going to church, and at first I just wanted to be low key. Just wanted to go to church, praise the Lord every Sunday. Do my tithes and all that. I don't really want any attention.
Right.
And then somebody said, I heard that you play guitar.
Oh, man.
I'm like, look, I don't play guitar anymore. I'm not playing guitar. But I got a better idea for you. And because they just had like a lady doing piano and a couple singers and stuff. So I was like, I'm not playing guitar, but I do have a great idea. Let me put something together. So what I was doing was taking all these old, great Christian hymns.
Oh, yeah.
And then putting drums behind it, putting keyboards behind it, choirs and violins, how I do my own music, it's basically like Rick Renstrom style behind classic Christian hymns and stuff like that. And then I would just put it all on a CD, and, the piano lady would play over top of it. And whatever it was perfect time, had drums, the whole 9 yards. And
that's incredible.
And then I'd say, what song do we want to do next week? And I would get the song, I would just download the MIDI file from the internet.
Yeah.
And then tweak it up, chop it up a little bit, make it nice, make it perfect. And that's what I was doing for years. Awesome. Like I turned into like the praise and worship director or music leader, I guess you want music leader, if you want to say.
Yeah.
And I just sang, I didn't play any guitar, not one lick. They wanted me to.
You know what I do at church?
Yeah.
You know what I do at church? I run sound. That's it. I run sound. I don't want to sing. I did sing a little bit a while ago. I'm just, for me, I'm like you, bro. I want to go to church. I just want to sit in the background. I just want to get the word, want to get fed, and then I want to go home, and I do that. But I really enjoy running sound anyways.
Yeah.
It's something about when you're sitting behind that console and the praise and worship team sounds great. It's a good self-satisfaction, right? You're going, versus when we first started going, we were at a church of like 6,000 people. And the first church was only like maybe 500 or 600 people, and the sound was terrible, right? And the praise team, so I asked the pastor one day, I said, hey, what about I put a praise team together and we'll do one Sunday, we'll do Easter Sunday. And he said, well, I'd want to hear you guys rehearse, right? And I'm like, okay. So I got together with some of the people in the church that I knew who could sing and play drums, and we did, I don't know, 4 or 5 songs in church. And for rehearsal, I said, I'm ready for you to come check us out. And he goes, all right, you guys are going to play Easter Sunday. So we played Easter Sunday and we never stopped. We kept playing week after week after week after week. And the church grew till it was like, it just grew tremendously. Right. And I was trying to get burnt out, and not trying, I mean, starting to get burnt out. And then some things happened and we ended up leaving that church and going to a church of 6,000 people. And my wife's like, man, you ought to join the praise team. I'm like, man, I just want to be here. I just want to, and she's like, do it. I'm like, all right. So I joined the praise team, and I did that for like 7 years. And then after that, I'm like, I'm done, man. Cause I was doing music, and doing Warrior and Deny the Fallen, this and that. And I kind of got a little burnt out like you. So I took a break from all the singing and stuff. And I just said, I just want to run sound, and so now that's all I do at church. I just run sound. And I really enjoy it, man.
That's cool, man. Yeah. I enjoyed it. Like I said, I didn't want to play guitar. I mean, and I just tell me what songs you guys want to do next week. And it was fun for me to like put these songs together and and people were just like, you started getting more people come in the church. It was a small church, like maybe 40, 50 people, but it started to grow and grow because people heard this music. It just sounded like a real band playing and stuff like that. So I took all my skills and put it into that. And, and it made a lot of people happy, because it was just, like I said, before I got there, it was just a lady and a piano and 3 or 4 singers, and I'm like, we could step this up a little bit, we could step this up, for sure.
You look in the Bible in the old days, before the battle, what happened? All the praise and worship music, the music went before to set the pace, and I've noticed that if your praise team is just, the church is just not going to grow, but you bring something that people are like, hey man, you ought to come to our church, check out our praise team. All of a sudden, everybody wants to come because music sets the pace for the preaching, and you put that together with a great pastor, man, it's unstoppable.
It's good. It's a great feeling, and
it is.
I even tried to go Christian music route. I wrote an EP. I actually broke the old guitar out and put some stuff on, and had a 4-song EP. I was trying to see if I could maybe get signed, as a Christian artist. I was listening to a lot of what was there was a Christian radio channel in Central Florida, 107.
Yeah, wasn't it not K-Love? Was it K-Love?
I know it was like, I don't want to say the Wave. I can't remember, but I listened to it all the time, and I'd hear that. I heard a guy named Lincoln Brewster. If you remember, Lincoln Brewster is. And he was a guitar player. I'm like, okay, this dude's playing guitar. He's playing solos, and he's kind of rocking. Like, I could do that too. So I started writing songs, but I could never get it to anyone, Yeah,
you just never put it in front of the right person, man.
Yeah, that was it. And then, then things happened. But then I gave up. And then, so I had some life-changing events in 2010. And Wade Black, he was here in St. Pete area. He was having kind of the same life-changing relationship thing.
Right,
and he's like, dude, come move down here, man, and let's start a band again. I'm like, okay, we'll do it, and sure enough, we started. I just moved picked up everything in Orlando, moved down to the west side over here, and we started a band. And I got back into guitar again. So it was like 5 years I wasn't playing guitar at all, and so it took me a couple months to get back in the swing of playing guitar and or how to do stuff. And
you don't forget, man.
It's funny because it's in your brain. Your mind knows exactly what to do, but your hands and your fingers have no idea what's going on. And you're just like fumbling around. But we did that for 7 years of trying to get an album out and get it done, and we finally got an album out. And unfortunately, it just wasn't ready to be put out. It didn't go through the right label. There was no promotion, and again, I'm done with this, man. I'm just done with music again. It's like I'm paying more money in than I'm getting back. I'm not really having fun with it. It's cool. I love playing with the guys and doing that stuff, but ultimately I just wasn't having fun anymore. And I'm done. I quit the band. I'm done. I'm putting the guitars in the closet.
Oh man.
I'm locking the door, man.
That's it. I'm done. Yeah.
Again. So 2 times in my life I was done, and it took 5 years, full 5-year breaks off.
Wow. So let me ask you this: you had mentioned earlier you're married now. You have a wife, any kids or anything? Or
Not the moment. I have a girlfriend, so yeah, we have
oh,
a
okay,
pretty serious relationship though, and
yeah, and
but
she's
yeah,
really
not really.
cool with everything you do with the
Absolutely.
music and everything.
She gives me all the support I need and helps me do the moderation, moderating on my streams and stuff like that. For
Nice.
any haters out there, there's always some, but
Oh yeah, dude.
she's there with Ray for the blocks and the mutes and stuff like that. So it's
Nice,
cool,
nice.
But yeah, she's super supportive, and we've been together a while since probably 20. Oh, it's been a while, man. It's getting there. 2017, I think. So almost 7 years now.
7 years.
But,
Yeah, yeah.
but she,
Christy and I, my wife. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, yeah, she moved down here, and when I was still in the band, and so she got to witness some of that, on stage and me being cool like that. And she was supportive when I quit. I was like, look, I can't do this anymore. It's costing too much money, and she was supportive of that. And sure enough, when I said, you know what, I think I'm gonna just do YouTube and stuff like that and see what happens. She's like, yeah, let's go for it. Let's go.
Yeah.
So it's
It's
awesome.
it's really powerful to have your spouse or your girlfriend, your partner, um, behind you. You know what I'm saying? Supporting everything you do. My wife and I, we've been married 34 years,
Oh wow.
and she totally, Rick. Let me tell you something. She backs me on everything, bro. On everything. In fact, her and I, we have such a great marriage. We just did. I recorded a podcast with her on last Sunday,
Nice.
which we're going to release it on Valentine's Day. And what
cool.
that podcast is so many people asked about our lives. How come you guys always seem so happy? We never see you fight. You never see you mad. Yada, yada. And we basically just talked about what we did. And the main thing was keeping Christ the focus of our marriage.
Yeah.
But the other big thing is just keeping an open line of communication. And she's man. I always say this, and I say it with pride, man. That's my girl, man.
Right.
And that's how I feel about her. It's yeah,
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's when you find that right one, it's
yeah,
everything just works. And I've had several in the past, and at first it worked out, but then the things just weren't right after a while. It just didn't feel the same. But with my current girlfriend, it's like it feels like we just met, again.
yeah.
All the time. So it's just like super cool. We have a lot of the same interests and things like that. So
No kids,
it
right?
works out. No, none. No.
Yet.
Yeah, or that I know of.
You know what my biggest fear is? I'll be at a show. Some kid will come up to me and go, "You're my dad." No,
Right? You never know.
Yeah,
Now,
no.
these days.
no, man. No, you know what's funny is we have. So I'll tell you real quick a story about my wife and I. When we first got married, we kept trying to have a baby. She wanted to have a baby, right? We kept trying and trying and trying. We're like 2 years into we're like a year into our marriage. And we were on tour. We did a show somewhere. And that particular Sunday, we went to church, right? The promoter knew the pastor or whatever. So we're there in church. They didn't know me. They didn't know my wife. They didn't even know Sacred Warrior, right?
Oh wow.
We're in church and the pastor calls me out. He says, listen, he goes, I don't know who you are. He goes, but God's telling me in my spirit right now that you and your wife are trying to have a baby. I'm like, wow, actually we are. He said, come on, bring her up here. So we went up on the stage on the platform and he told me to kneel in front of my wife and lay my hands on her stomach and pray. And he said, the Lord just told me you're going to have a son. And you know what? We got back from tour. She was pregnant with a son.
Wow.
And we named him Seth. Now, here's the reason I'm telling you the story is we're talking about the whole having babies and all that. A big joke between my wife and I is that I've gotten a lot of women pregnant, but not the way you would think. I've laid hands on people who say, hey, man, we're trying to get a baby. I'm like, come here, let me pray for you, man. And they end up getting pregnant. You know what I'm saying? So, dude, I haven't done it in years, but I think there was like 5 or 6 people that I prayed for that had been trying and trying and trying. And I laid hands on them and I just confessed it, man. And boom, they got pregnant. It was really cool.
The spirit rolls through you, man.
Bro,
It's
I'm
amazing.
telling you, man.
It's amazing.
I'm telling
That's
you.
awesome.
Hey, one other thing I was going to ask you is if, I know you have a lot of followers and a lot of listeners. We have different followers, you and I, on my podcast, but hopefully this will broaden my perspective, my viewing audience or whatever. But what would you say to is if there's anyone out there that's watching this today what would you say to them? You know, they're facing some challenges, whether physical or mental or anything. What kind of encouraging words would you say to someone like that, or many someone's like that?
Yeah. I mean, you know, when it comes down to things like that, you really have to. I think you need to, you know, dig deep within yourself.
Mm.
You know, you have to find. You might be at that lowest point in your life, and you know, there's always someone else out there that's at a lower point than you.
Mm.
You have to rise up. You have to find a way to change whatever's happening to you. Dedicate your time to better yourself. You know, depending on what it is. You know, there's so many things that could happen to a person,
Mm.
struggles. You know, that we find. But in a lot of ways, you have to overcome whatever is stopping you, and you have to adapt to the situation that you're in.
Mm.
And you know, and we've all been there. You know, where it's just the lowest point, and we don't know how to get out of it, but we find a way. And there is always someone there that will help you. You can find. You look hard enough. Sometimes you don't have to look very hard.
Yeah.
And someone will be there to help you. And you can pray as well, and you never know what will happen after you've prayed.
Absolutely.
And you never know who's going to knock on your door, or you're going to walk past somebody, and they might do something. You just never know. But you have to have that faith inside you, for real. You know.
Yeah, and you can't be a quitter, and you just got to do it, man.
You got to.
You know, you hear so many sad stories of people that limit themselves, and then you hear of all these victories. I've since following you, I've started doing research. I've seen guys who play drums with their feet, girls who draw with their feet, I mean, just so many things, man. That people that beat adversity, you know, they were challenged with something. We're all challenged with something, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's how you deal with it. Do you grab the bull by the horns, or do you say, I quit, I can't do it? You know, and
you gotta
it's really,
you gotta push yourself. You know.
Yeah.
Nothing. I mean, I can't say that. I can't say it for everyone, but nothing in this world comes easy. There's
That's
nothing
right.
that's going to come to you. You have to put the time and the effort and the prayers and the faith in, and it will come to you if you keep doing that. You know what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You know, but it's if you're just doing it half speed,
Mhm.
it might happen for you. You know, it
Yeah.
could be you're just spinning your wheels.
Yeah. That's very well said. Yeah.
So
Yeah, you gotta just set your mind and say, I'm gonna do this no matter what.
yeah,
You know, and
That's
you
it.
know, it's that in many situations. Years ago, I decided, you know what, I'm a big guy, right? I said, you know what, I'm gonna lose some weight. I'm gonna put my mind to it, and I'm gonna lose some weight. And I lost a bunch of weight because my biggest thing was you have to become that person here before you can come that person here, right? You have to conquer it in your mind. And I did really well. And then I had a boating accident on my boat. I ended up getting a flesh-eating bacteria. I almost lost my leg.
Man.
And then I just got lazy. I'm not blaming it on anything, but I just got lazy and I started gaining the weight back, you know? And I have to set myself up to get in that right mindset again, to get back on track, to losing the weight again.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't hinder me as far as performance wise, but you know, big guy, I deal with different struggles than you do, you know,
Yeah.
but it's all a mind thing, and you just have to conquer it no matter what, man.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
I think another thing, and I mean, and that's not for it's everyone, including myself, and it's this time of the time of the world right now is distraction.
Oh yeah.
The world is a one big distraction, and people always. I see all these comments, on my videos, like, "Oh, I wish I could play guitar like that," or this and that. I'm throwing away my guitars. Like, quit. Whatever. I'm like thinking, yeah, but when I grew up playing guitar, starting off, it was 1985, 1986. There was nothing. I had a TV with one knob on it that turned the knob to get a channel. I had
You were the remote control, right?
Yeah, like get up and change channel.
Yeah.
I had a Nintendo game
Oh,
system.
man.
That was it. And I had a stereo, like turntable, and 8-track, and a
Oh
dual cassette
yeah.
deck. So, and you don't. People nowadays didn't have that. So there's not much to be distracted with. He's like, you got bored of that stuff. Real quick, like, well, I'm bored of this. You go find something else to do. And for me back then, I was playing guitar. I didn't. But nowadays it's like
this is the number one culprit right here: cell phones, bro. I read something recently that I think it was teenagers, spend between 11 to 15 hours a day on their phones. Where they're working, they're in school, they're whatever. They're always on them phones.
I'm there right with them, man. I'm like constantly looking at Facebook, looking at Instagram. It's like seeing if do I have to reply to anything. How many views did I get? I'm like constantly like looking back and forth. So I'm distracted by that kind of stuff. And then I love video games. I've been playing video games since I was a little kid. And my girlfriend and I love playing video games. And so a game comes out, and I'd rather just be playing video games than practice guitar or do something. But I have to tell myself, okay, be like you were when you're a kid, man. Do your homework first, and then go play your games. Whatever. So now it's like, I go play guitar for a little while, do my streaming and stuff like that, work on videos, and when I'm done with that, then I could go play. But it's a complete distraction. I couldn't play it. I could not play it at all, and probably get even more work done. But But I work all day, and I just wanted to get on the couch and just fall into it,
Yeah, the bottom line is we all have our way of relaxing or winding down, if you will, and one thing that I like to encourage people is maybe put down that phone a little bit, and if you have a partner, spend more time with them or your kids. Or I know I have several friends who don't spend much time with their kids, and their kids rather come over here to my house and hang with us and our kids, because we just have such a great relationship with them, and even in a marriage, bro, if you're both together all the time and you're on your phone and she's on her phone, or you're not really communicating, you got to have that communication. And it's in the marriage, it's with you and your kids, it's with you and your friends, and just distractions. And those distractions take you away from not only just things in your life, but they take you away from God. Not you, but I mean, just anyone in general.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's even more of it, and you put that onto something, and then you're not going to be looking good, man. You got to put it in there, and you're right. The cell phone has got to be the number one thing, because it's right there in your hand all the time. And I didn't have a cell phone when I was growing up. I didn't have a cell phone even when I was with Rob Rock. I probably didn't get a cell phone until I was probably 2005 or 2006. Wow. And it was just a phone. It didn't have apps on or anything like that. It was just something I'd have for emergencies. But
the old pagers, right? Remember those?
Oh yeah. Check my pager every second. Hey, I got page. But
hey, if it's an emergency, when you page me, put 911 on there, and I'll call you right away.
Right.
You remember those things?
Oh yeah,
dude. You know what's really weird? Years ago, I had an opportunity, man. I would be a mega millionaire right now. I worked for the city of Naperville, man.
Yeah.
And my guy that would come in and sell my janitor his supplies, he came up to me one day and he said, "Hey, listen," he goes, "How'd you like to be a millionaire?" I said, "I'd love it." He goes, "It's a $500 investment. This is, way, I think I was like, I don't even know how it was, but $500, it might as well have been $50,000, right?"
Right.
Like, oh man, well, what is it? He goes, "So there's this company, they're going to come out with a cell phone that you can carry in your car. You just got to carry a battery pack and all that." I'm like, who would want to carry their phone in their car? Right? Yeah, hindsight, right?
Oh yeah.
And he's like, "Bro, I'm telling you," he goes, "I got in through it through one of the Dallas Cowboys, and he's already starting to make money." He goes, "This is going to be a milestone, man." I'm like, "Nah, it'll never work." You know what I'm saying? Imagine that. Imagine that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Man.
You never know, man.
We'd be having a different conversation right now,
Probably. I've missed the boat on a few things myself,
Yeah, man.
With big stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's all right, man.
Some people get it, some people don't. You never know, but you just keep doing what you do, man. That's all you can
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. As Christians, the word of God says that, as we are followers of Christ, our steps are ordered by Christ,
Oh, yeah.
and so I've learned to accept my life as a man of God in the sense that my steps are ordered by God. So whatever I'm going through, it's what God had planned for me.
Yeah.
And I accept it and I try to make the best of it and I live it out as much as I can. And again, I don't have any regrets either, man. I've done so much in my life. When I got saved, I wrote God a letter. I said, I want to marry a little blonde. I want to have a house. I want to have a bunch of kids. I want to be in a rock band and I want to tour the world. Well, guess what? He gave me everything I asked him for, man.
That's amazing.
And bro, I'm telling you, how can I not be happy and grateful for what God has done in my life?
Oh, yeah.
He says, anything you'll ask in my name, according to my will and purposes, you shall have.
Oh,
I said, all right, I want this. And I wrote him a letter and I mailed it. I don't even know who I mailed it to. I think I mailed it to my pastor or something. I don't know. But dude, he gave me everything that I asked for. And it's incredible, man. And it seems to me like God has done the same with you. He's taken you from a place of adversity and basically you're like, I want to play guitar. You didn't write him a letter. Maybe you did. I don't know. But everything that you wanted, he did for you. And he did it above and exceedingly over what you would expect. You know what I'm saying?
As a kid, I said my prayers every night, man.
Yeah,
not a lot of prayers when I was a kid, So
oh yeah.
you say you never know, And I felt guided so much of my life, It's just, and one of the biggest things I always goes is everything happens for a reason.
Yeah,
you might not know what that reason is, but you're going to be walking those steps.
Absolutely,
and it's going to guide you in the right direction.
Yeah,
sometimes.
Man. Yeah.
Sometimes you maybe make a tweak to that, and you make the wrong step, but God finds a way to put you back in the right door.
Yeah,
another way.
Yeah, dude. I shared with some people in my Bible study on Thursday. There's a lot of people are like, man, is I feel like if I do this, God's going to get mad at me. If I do that, and I told them, and these are not my words, but this is my pastor. He's like, God is not sitting up there, and when you sin, He's not sitting up there. I'm going to smack the ever living knucklehead out of you. You did that again, you knucklehead. That's not our God, man. He wants to wrap you in His arms and say, hey, listen, I get it. Let's try this again. And it's that kind of thinking that turns people away from God because they're like, I'm not perfect. God hates me. It's the contrary, man. He loves you, man. It's not by works that you're saved. You know what I'm saying? And I say that to say this. I know a lot of people that don't go to church. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. My pastor ain't perfect. But you know what? You love the Lord and you do the best that you can to live for Him. You get to know Him by reading the Word, right?
Yeah.
And you just try to do the best thing in the way that a godly person should.
Exactly.
And you're going to fail. You're going to fail. You're going to fail. But you just keep turning back to Him, man, and just receiving what He has for you, man. And it's a good way to live your life.
It is, man. You got to.
Yeah.
In His eyes, we are perfect. So that's all we can do is take it, run with that, and do the best. Like I said, do the best we can with our lives to, keep pushing that light out.
Yeah. Hey, I want to ask you one last thing before we finish up. I had read somewhere that you've won some awards for playing guitar and stuff, right? You said you had won an award for singing, but didn't you win some awards on playing guitar as well?
Yeah, a couple, man. I mean, back in the day, I did the some music stores out in like Central Florida had like guitar war contests or whatever. I won like best lead guitar player or best whatever. I don't know. It's stuff like that's inconsequential to me anymore. But
sure, yeah.
But I think the Central Florida Music Awards. Both Rob and I won the best guitarist, and Rob won best vocalist.
Imagine that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And I actually I was in New York in Thanksgiving in November. I got an award for my guitar from a place. It's called the Danny Awards, and I played there. It was pretty cool, and they kind of they basically pick 10 people around the world,
Wow.
and give an award for the extraordinary abilities that they have with music.
Wow.
So yeah, it was quite crazy, and they flew me up there, and I received the award, and I played one of my songs in front of it was over 1,000 people there. It's the first time I played live in like 5-6 years. You know, it was pretty wild. But again, going back to with Ever Nurse, like I walked up on stage and I nailed it, man.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
let's go. And then I got off, and the adrenaline was like, oh man, and it just felt all these feelings back. I'm like, I got to get back out there, dude. I need to I need to be live again like this. So I don't know if it'll happen. It costs a lot of money these days, but we'll see. The year is early, and things can happen. But
yeah. And it's like you said earlier, there's nothing like when you're up on stage and you're playing, and people are like, people singing the lyrics that you wrote on a notepad in your studio last year. That's such a great feeling, man. Especially, it doesn't matter, big groups, small groups, whatever. We're performers, right? That's what we love to do. And when you hear people doing it, singing your stuff or really enjoying what you do, it's great, man. It's a great feeling, man. But
it's wild, man.
But listen, bro, man, this has been so incredible for me just to actually hang out with you, man. Again, I'm a big fan, and I'm going to post your YouTube and, hang out after we're done here. We'll talk for a minute, but I want to post all your links on here. And I've already told so many people about you, man. And it's been an honor having you on here, and share the episode with your people, man. And, they can watch it or whatever. And
absolutely.
We'll stay in touch, bro. It's been great, man.
That was awesome, man.
Yeah, man. So hang in there for just a second. All right. And listen, everybody, again, this is Rick Renstrom on the Is It Wrong podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed everything that you heard today. Just an incredible man with an incredible story. And make sure you like his pages and share them. Until then, is it wrong?